Hey you guys, it's Raven. Geez, has it been a fucking shit show the past 2 or 3 years since I uploaded? I actually deleted my last upload because I did not like how I looked in it. But last time I uploaded, I was becoming homeless. That was fucking awesome. I had a great time, as you can imagine. But first, meet my new kitty. Meet her. This is Chiba. Like Chiba Huts, but it's spelled with an I because it's cuter. But yeah, I wanted to come back to YouTube, maybe make some different types of videos, because I was working on like an art type video, my usual type. As you can see, I have stuff designed right here, but I wasn't feeling it, and I want to make more in-person videos. I'm not exactly sure what, but I want to make more videos like this. So I first wanted to go over what happened the last couple years, what's been going on, why I have BPD now, when last time you checked I just had PTSD. So yeah, we're just gonna get into that after I drink some Monster. So yeah, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, whenever, last time I uploaded, I was being evicted. A few months before that had happened, I had gone to the mental hospital and had been diagnosed with PTSD, hence the last video that's uploaded right now. And I had to leave the job I was at because it was too stressful for me. I couldn't do it. It was part of what sent me to the mental hospital. I could not handle the stress of being a janitor for a big stadium, a big football stadium. I could not do it. So regrettably now, hindsight is 2020, left that job, and at the same time my boyfriend wasn't really getting hours at the job, but my parents were staying with me because they were going through a hard time. So they were helping us manage and pay for the place for a few months. After they moved out, I was still trying to find work and slightly supporting myself with commissions, and it just wasn't enough anymore, and we got evicted. But we didn't really want to be there anymore anyways, because the place never added my boyfriend to Tyler. I'll just say Tyler from now on. They never added Tyler to the lease, which helped us out now because he never got an eviction on his record, but we paid them like $300, maybe more than that, to add him to our lease after already having him on the application, and they never added him, so he was not on the lease. And he was struggling to get hours, I was struggling to get money. They wanted to raise the rent. Our upstairs neighbors left, I guess, town and left their kids there by themselves, and they flooded the bathroom, which then caused our ceiling to collapse and flooded our drains with insulation and stuff, so we couldn't use any of the sinks. Our closet got flooded with, and my clothes specifically got soaked. It was terrible. It was a shit show living there. So we kind of wanted out, but we didn't want to be evicted, obviously. But that's what was happening because we had applied for an apartment with our friends and they lost our application fee. So everything was a shit show. Much is my life. So we're being evicted, and we're going to stay with our friend at his house. We're going to stay in his bedroom. Unfortunately, he didn't tell his parents that we were becoming homeless and that we were going to be staying for a while. And the same night that we moved in, he decided to go move out and live with his girlfriend. So that created an awkward situation for us, and eventually they wanted us to leave the bedroom and live in their garage for a while until we could figure out what we were going to do. And during that time, I had gotten 2 different part-time jobs. Both fell through. The first one was some kids' fun house, playhouse. It was, I don't know, it had a giant, you know, it was like a McDonald's, giant McDonald's play place and a ball pit and a little restaurant. It was kids' birthday place. I don't know. And my first day, no training, nothing. They dropped me by myself in the middle of the play place and just said, watch the kids. At some point, I also got dragged away with no training still to start decorating a party room. There was also a child at the cash register for the food. So the whole place was stressing me out, and I ended up having an anxiety attack and leaving. The second job, there was a mishap with, they told me I would be having certain hours, and then they wanted me to work more hours, so I talked to them about it, and they ended up firing me. So both jobs fell through, and eventually our friend needed to come back to his house, not just live with his girlfriend at her house. So we were getting kicked out again. We were becoming homeless again. Instead of living in a garage like we had been, we now had to find somewhere else to stay. Luckily, at the time, we were able to get a hold of, or he got a hold of us, Tyler's dad. And we were able to stay with him for a bit, but that was just temporary because they were leaving that apartment. It was his grandparents' place and they were moving to a retirement place. So we couldn't stay there long. While we were staying there, and I'm still looking for a job and we're still trying to figure everything out, my aunt from all the way across the country reaches out to us. And she starts acting super sympathetic about my situation. She's like, I heard you were becoming homeless. You know, I've worried about you ever since your family moved you across the country when you were a little girl. I've been worried about you your whole life. And me, trauma-brained, mad at my parents for, at the time, appearingly not being willing to support me, even though I had supported them during their homelessness. That turned out to be a miscommunication. We are all good now, but at the time, I was all trauma-brained, mad at my parents, mad at the world, felt like my life was falling apart, and my aunt from across the country starts spouting all this love and understanding about my PTSD and my mental health and how I just need a place to heal and restart, and she offers to pay to move us across the country to live with her. And of course I accept. I shouldn't have though. Warning sign, she had kicked my parents out just a few months before and were the reason that my family was living with me. Should not have moved over with her, but like I said, I was all trauma-brained and vulnerable. So, first sign she gave us at the time that things were gonna suck was she kept telling us, don't worry about how much it's gonna cost to ship your stuff. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about any of the fees, any of the costs of moving. We're gonna get you over here. Don't worry about it. And then when it came to paying for the stuff, she's like, actually, like while we're at the UPS place trying to ship our stuff, she's like, actually the budget is $400. So we were only able to ship like 4 of our boxes when we had like 8 to 10 of boxes of stuff. But we ship our stuff, we hop on a plane, we fly all the way out to Pennsylvania, and almost immediately things start going wrong. Almost immediately she shows her true colors, because as soon as I showed up, I became her little task doer. I don't know how else to describe it. Before I even got there, she had been having me come up with a menu of mocktails for daughters, my cousins, prom pre-celebration, and I was willing to do it. You know, I was super grateful to have been brought there and being taken in and everything. I was super grateful for everything she was doing for me, so I was more than willing to come up with some mocktails for her daughter. The thing is, she didn't help me with it at all. When I showed up, she didn't help me with it at all. She sent me with my uncle to go to the store, and he seemed kind of grumpy about the fact that we were doing it. And then the kids didn't even really want the drinks, so it was kind of all a waste of time. But I did it for her. And then she had me start cleaning certain rooms for her, and I was willing to do that, of course. She wanted me to clean and organize because she had a hard time doing it, and I was like, sure, no problem. I don't think she had a hard time doing it. I think she was just lazy, but that's another story. She's a hoarder. So first real sign of trouble is they told us that they informed us of food that was in the fridge. Did not ask us to make dinner. Just told us there was food in the fridge. The next night, when my aunt comes home from work, she's texting me, all berating me and angry, and when I go downstairs, she's screaming at me because I didn't make dinner for the kids. Had she simply asked, I would have done so. I was doing all this other stuff for her, like vacuuming the house, organizing the downstairs, making these mocktails, organizing her upstairs, working on some painting project for her. I was doing so much for her. I was more than willing to cook some dinner. But she did not ask me to. And I told her that. I was like crying. I was literally crying because, you know, I have trauma. I can't deal with being screamed at. I was crying and I was like, hey, if you had simply asked us, if you had communicated, that's all I'm asking for, it's communication. And she's screaming at me like, no, you're acting dumb. You did this on purpose. You're just acting ignorant. Why else would we tell you there's food there just for you to get food? Yes, it's your house. But anyway, that whole thing just stressed me out to the max, and we started realizing this is gonna be a bad place to live. So we start saving up to move at that point, like maybe a couple weeks into living there. Visiting Raven here, I forgot to mention so much stuff. Well, didn't forget. This video would have been miles and miles and miles and miles long if I went through all of the stuff that she did, but at one point I did have an entire list that I was forming, but that's a bad idea. I shouldn't revisit all that trauma. Just, she did so much in the 2 months that we lived there, because we're not going to be able to stay there. She was already making me cry and have panic attacks. So the weeks go by, she's adding more and more piles of stuff onto me to do, adding the responsibility of her children onto me, and having me tell them to do stuff, and they're full teenagers who don't want to do that stuff, and are not going to listen to me, someone like 2 years older than them, 3 years older than them, telling them what to do. So there's all this conflict going on, and I'm literally getting stressed thinking about it right now. So as it's getting closer to the time that we are moving, and by now this is like July, and the original eviction was back in March, so it's been a few months that things have been going on, and she overhears through the grapevine, because we worked at the same place, that I was looking for a ride to the airport on July whatever the fuck that I moved away on, and she comes home yelling at me again, screaming at me about how I'm copying my parents, following their footsteps and stuff. Which, I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. She kicked them out. So, somehow, I'm following my parents' footsteps by wanting to move back to Vegas. She makes us go live with my grandma, who, apparently, I did not know at the time, was living in a decrepit, unlivable, spider-infested, disgusting trailer. I don't know why she still lives, well, I do know why she still lives there. It's because she wants to keep her dog. She can't have her dog at a retirement home. But it's just unlivable, that trailer, and I'm pretty sure my aunt knew. And she had us go stay with her. And I don't want to shit talk my grandma, but the night that we stayed in her trailer was my worst night ever. It was awful. We found maggots in this chair that Tyler was sleeping in, I think. There was a spider inches from my face when I was sleeping. It was terrible. And my aunt did that to us on purpose, I know it. And to top it all off, the night they were kicking us out, I forgot my teddy bear in the room. When you're quickly grabbing our stuff and being forced into a car, I forgot my teddy bear that I had from my best friend in middle school when I had originally gone to the mental hospital and been diagnosed with depression at 13. That teddy bear had been with me through thick and thin, through all my teens, being on the wrong medication because I was misdiagnosed with bipolar and everything. And I left it in that room and immediately realized it after I got to my grandma's house. Texted them, pleading with them for me to just get the teddy bear back despite everything. They did not respond. I reached out to my cousin, who was more than willing to help me get the teddy bear, but they had already cleared out that room that we were staying in, which was another deliberate punch in the face because when we arrived, like I said, months after they had kicked my parents out, they had that room still packed full of stuff. They had not touched it. They had in fact threw more stuff into that room. And when I showed up, I had to clean that room in order for us to be able to stay in it. It was a hoarder's fucking paradise in that goddamn room. They had cleared it out within hours. So I know for a fact they did that just so I couldn't get any of my shit back through my cousin. But anyway, we stayed with my grandma for a night. We stayed with her boyfriend. Well, not with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend stayed with her at the trailer at the time. But we still don't know how they can bear to live in that place. But we stayed at my grandma's boyfriend's retirement home. And we had our job still at the UPS that we worked at. But my aunt, I'm pretty sure, urged them. You know, I don't have proof of this on my aunt. To be fair, I keep saying all this is, oh, my aunt did this, my aunt did that, my aunt did this. Don't have for a fact that my aunt did this, but I had only told like one person that I was leaving at UPS. And a week later, after we got kicked out of my aunt's place, they came to us talking about how they needed to let us go in order for new employees to be ushered in because they knew we were leaving. They knew we weren't going to be temporary, or we were only temporary, and they just weren't okay with that. So we lost out on a week of work that we probably would have had if, like I said, don't know for sure, probably my aunt, who also worked there as a higher up, pushed them to do so. Just a theory, just a game theory. Eventually, after a week, and let me just say, I started developing BPD during this time. I started experiencing the symptoms and stuff that I now know are BPD during that time. I felt like I was crazy. I felt like I was losing my goddamn mind for a few months, but it started when I was at my aunt's house. And I had one of my first episodes while I was at my grandma's boyfriend's place and damn near broke my foot kicking my boyfriend in the shin. I don't condone my actions. I severely hate my actions during the first few months of having BPD. After we got brought back, after we came back to Vegas, let's stop getting ahead of myself. We came back to Vegas in July with the help of my dear friend Susan. I love her so much. She loaned us like $1,000 during this time, and I'm still paying her back for it. She is an angel. I love her so much. Thank you. Mwah. If you're watching this, thank you so much. You saved my life. We got this place that we're in. We managed to get this place. I originally wasn't on the lease, but we got that fixed after my eviction passed a certain amount of time. We got me on the lease, and this place isn't exactly good. It quite sucks. It's infested with roaches. They turn the water off every couple days for maintenance or whatever. Basically a motel. It's very small. As you can see, the living room's right there. There's no wall in between properly. It's basically a studio, if that like partial wall wasn't there. It's very small, very cramped. Sucks to live in. We pay every 2 weeks and it's very overpriced. But it's a place to live. And Susan helped us get here and I'm very grateful for that. I'm glad we're not on the streets. During the first month of living here, things were very rocky. We didn't have food most of the time. We were struggling to pay rent because I didn't have a job yet. Tyler didn't have a job. We managed to get hired at a call center. He got to work there a little bit longer than me because I lost my contacts during the training. I lost my contacts during training and had to go to the doctor one of the days. And because I missed a day of training, they decided that they were no longer going to be moving forward with my training. They fired me. So, shit show after shit show. But I was managing to get money through different gigs on Craigslist, mainly mock juries. They pay to do mock juries around here. That's pretty cool. So I did that during that time, and eventually I found a job where I work now. But the story about having BPD, I went to jail. I went to jail overnight. That was fucking awesome. I had a BPD episode, had struck Tyler a few times. The cops got called on us because they heard me screaming by our neighbor. When Tyler was explaining to the cops what happened, he did tell them that I had struck him. I got taken to jail for domestic violence. He was begging for them to just take me to the mental hospital because I was having a whole fucking episode. And honestly, that's what I needed. I did not need to go to jail. That was another layer of trauma, just bloop, right on top of my everything else. But it happened. And one of the cops that was there while I was getting arrested, not the one that took me to jail, another one of the cops that was there, took my phone and my wallet and accidentally left it in his car, I guess, for a week. Was just driving to and from work. I got out this next night. They thought I had my phone at the jail, my parents and my boyfriend. Everybody thought I had my phone, then I would be able to call them when I got out. Nope, I did not have my phone. They had it in the back of a car, so I had to partially walk home. Another thing about the fact that I went to jail, hang on. Another thing is they did not let me put on pants before I left, and they did not give me pants when I got there. I was in booty shorts, and it was cold. It was freezing outside. It was freezing in the jail. I was turning purple. That fucking sucked. Oh my god. I completely forgot about that for a minute. So yeah, when I got released, I just got released onto the street at like midnight and it was freezing and I hop onto a bus and I'm asking people to borrow their phone so I can at least tell someone I'm coming. Nobody's letting me borrow their phone. People are like, oh no, I looked crazy. I get it. I had cuts all over my thighs because mental health issues. Cops were making fun of me for that, by the way. When the other girls told me when I left the room, they're like, oh, Miss Suicidal over here. And shit like that. Rude. I was crying and all this, asking people to borrow their phone. They were saying, oh no, it's dead, and then answering calls as if I didn't see that. That was fucking rude. Eventually, I get off the bus, I walk the stretch that it takes to get home from the bus stop. It's freezing. I managed to get home. That all fucking sucked. A couple days later, the cop brings back my fucking phone and my fucking wallet. Thank fuck. I think that's all the stories I have from the past 2 or 3 years. Like I said, I don't condone any of the actions I made while I had while I had undiagnosed BPD. I was crazy. I was all over the place. This is really difficult to admit, but I also had an eating disorder for a year there. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm sure you've noticed, people texted me about it. I lost like 80 pounds in a year. I'm trying to be healthier now. I'm trying to recover. I've gained a little bit of weight back, so that's good. I'm obviously not so happy about it. The eating disorder is still killing me, but I'm trying to get better. I'm on medication for my BPD now. That's another thing. I'm under control now. Things are looking up. I got my phone service back. That got turned off while I was going through everything. We're probably going to be moving out of here pretty soon into a real apartment, thanks to my parents. They're going to be helping me out. So honestly, genuinely, things are looking up, and I want to start making videos again. Like I said, probably less art-based videos because I am very burnt out. During the past 2 years, I have been mainly doing commissions, and I've just been working non-stop, drawing for other people, and it has honestly killed my artistic drive. I'm trying to get it back. I got it back for a few months when I was in a little manic phase, when I first got on a certain medication that almost gave me a heart attack. I swear, I went to the ER about it. I am struggling to have artistic drive, but I want to do more videos. Like I said, I want to do maybe some like artistic montage videos. I think that might be fun. So if you've been here for the past few years, thanks for sticking around and waiting for me. If you're new, welcome. Thanks for sticking through like a 30-minute video of me just rambling about my life. It's mainly for the people that already know me. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you will continue to watch and see what I do in the future. Bye!